Hello and welcome, guys, to another Theros draft brought to you by Rocco from the Lich's Lair. We're doing a Solstice event, so we're going to get you 3 rounds of juicy goodness. So, going into pack 1 here. Looking at things. Fire Drink Crusader is the rare. Good, not archetype defining, not power. I don't think he's powerful enough to really warrant taking him pack 1, pick 1. Neshin Asp, probably one of the best green commons you can get, and he still leaves it open to a lot of different strategies. Other considerations include Griptide's one of, if not the best blue common. Hopeful Eidolon is an amazing white card. In terms of our uncommons, they're all solid. Tormented Hero is really, he doesn't seem to really have much of a place in a lot of decks, unfortunately. He's an early drop in black, but there's not a whole lot of black aggressive decks in this. Ordeal of Perforos is really nice, but as if you've ever read my article before, I'm not high on red. We have a Karametra's Acolyte, but that's a very specific build, either green, red, or just green. Ordeal of Nalia is a nice enchantment, but I really think the pick is Griptide here. Other consideration would probably be Hopeful Eidolon, but Griptide it is. So, next pack. Steam Augury, not bad, but it's okay. We don't necessarily want to go into red-blue. If it tables, we might even take the Ill-Tempered Cyclops, and then if it tables, we might grab it. But right here, looking at things, other considerations. Ordeal of Heliod is really good. Cavern Lampid is alright in a mono-black deck. Well, I guess it doesn't have to necessarily be a mono-black deck, but another Hopeful Eidolon and an Observant Alseid. Fate Foretold and Portent of Betrayal. Guardians of Meletus will probably table, but it's a really good defender if you got a slow deck. Fate Foretold is not bad, especially if you have anything that's going to trigger off of Heroic. But ultimately, it's either going to be one of the enchantment creatures or Ordeal of Heliod. And honestly, I don't think that. The more I've played this format, the more I've realized I almost never want to cast a lot of these guys as just creatures. Like Nimbus Naiad, I might, or even possibly the Lampad. But the Alseid and the Eidolon, there's very few things I want to do, so I'll probably end up taking the Ordeal, and we'll see where we go. Yeah, we'll take the Ordeal and see where we go from there. This pack doesn't seem very deep at all, unfortunately. Chosen by Heliod's not bad, again, if we get a white-blue heroic-style deck, but unfortunately we have no creatures to determine that yet. Mnemonic Wall, I'm not a fan of Mnemonic Wall. The one good thing about it is it blocks anything wearing a Prowler's Helm. And it's literally, and as far as I remember, it's the only creature in this format that blocks something wearing a Prowler's Helm, but I don't think that's worth grabbing it. Viper's Kiss is not bad as removal. Shuts off anything with Monstrous. Any of the Scholar of Athreos can shut off even this Agent of Horizons. This is just a 2/1 instead of an unblockable creature. But Last Breath is not bad as possible removal. Some people value Scourge Mark. I'm not a big fan. Opaline Unicorn's not terrible. Another Karametra's Acolyte. So if the first one were to table, that'd be a really good sign for us. But I think I'm going to do that or the Chosen of Heliod. I think I'm going to take the Chosen by Heliod just in case. Because right now, yeah, this is looking alright. Solid blue flyer. That's really where this guy ends up. He is a solid blue flyer. His double blue kind of sucks. He does have an upside. He's a 3/4 flyer for 5. Not the worst, not the best. If I remember correctly, most of the time they print a 3/3 flyer for 5 with an upside, but him being 4 is actually pretty nice. Voyage's End is probably going to be the pick here because it is, in a lot of instances, removal in this format. Again, unfortunately, we have no creatures as of yet, and we are not officially in blue-white, but getting a Voyage's End is going to really make us want to stick with blue. White, we're not super huge on. We might even go, we're going to try and keep an eye for what's open, but Voyage's End, I think, is a clear pick. Going into this pack, another Ordeal of Heliod, which may or may not imply white's open, I'm not sure. I hear that's a really good card. Unfortunately, I don't think it's amazing, but it can keep you alive long enough to finish the game if you've got the threats on the board. I honestly don't think it's the greatest Ordeal. Personally, I think the blue one and the red one are quite a bit better. The green one's alright. The black one I think is... It's hard to value that one, I guess. It depends on what creatures you have to put it on, because you don't want to usually build a black heroic deck, which is one of the only reasons you want to run this. Otherwise, Fate Foretold, Traveler's Amulet for fixing. I'm actually going to go. I'm going to take the Ordeal just because it can grow creatures. It does have a lasting impact. In this pack, this is pretty. I've seen some people say Anvil Raptor's all right. Savage Surge is actually a really nice trick, but we're not actually in green just yet, and it's kind of hard to say. We don't want to go into it just for Savage Surge. I mean, if some really good stuff tables, sure, but right now, but a Hopeful Eidolon coming this late, 6th pick, is pretty good. Either this was a very deep pack for white, which I doubt because there's no good black cards. There's like mediocre. There's a solid green card, but not great. There's an okay blue card for a very particular archetype. Ultimately, I think Hopeful Eidolon is it, and if we finally get, I'm not going to count that as a creature. Let's see. So where are we at? We're looking more like we want to be a blue-white heroic deck. Unfortunately, we haven't seen any heroic creatures come our way, so we may need to reconsider the deck we're building right now. Or we may have to grab any and all heroic creatures we can, pack 2 and 3, if any even come our way. Meanwhile, Omen Speaker's alright, but he's much more of a control style deck. I think he fits better in blue-black than blue-white, but he can wear an Ordeal alright. Insatiable Harpy, double as good as it is, it's a double black card. I do like Scholar of Athreos, but we're not in black, so we're gonna take the Omen Speaker just in case, because it is still in our colors. Some more like mediocre picks. We could take the Traveler's Amulet in case we want to splash a third color, which we might even consider doing at this point if we don't get anything good coming our way. Bronze Sable's a good early drop, which we might still want if we are doing a blue-white style deck. Decorated Griffin, a 2-power 5-drop with, yes, evasion. It gets I could see it being dominated pretty easily in the skies. I actually don't know if I've ever even seen someone play it. Lost in Lab. We're going to take the Bronze Sable just because we are a little creature light right now. Back to pack 1. Tormented Hero did table, so that is a good sign. Almost enough that we might start splashing black, but having a black on turn 1, at about turn 4 later, this is not really where we want to be. Unfortunately, there's literally nothing in any of the colors we do want. So we're going to have to go with... I think I am going to take the Tormented Hero just in case. Let's see. Fleet Feather Sandals. Yeah, none of this is great. Not really anything we want for our deck the way it's shaking me up just yet. Again, we may still completely abandon a lot of what we've got thus far. Like, we can still go, like, white-green. We could technically go blue-green, but it's really hard to justify dropping blue because we have 2 really good cards and 1 solid card in blue. We're gonna take the Guardians of Meletus just in case. We're going to take the Prowler's Home, because you know what, if this does end up being a mediocre blue-white tempo deck, at least we're going to have something that can sneak past almost anything in the format. Another Guardians, a Benthic Giant. If we do go big blue-white, we could use the Benthic Giant and just start putting things on him, literally. I don't think we have to worry too much about getting too many Guardians of Meletus, so we're going to take the Benthic Giant, actually. Not really. We'll take the Triton Shore Thief just in case we need it. I really hope we don't have to play him, but we'll take the Flesh Mad Steed. Why not? So that was pack 1. Not the best. We did get 2 Ordeals and a Hopeful Eidolon. We also got a Riptide and a Voyage's End, which is really good for us. But I'm not sure how that's going to work out for us. Going on to pack 2. Alright, so onward to pack 2. What we're looking at here, can't really judge what may or may not get past to us. Unfortunately, like, Celestial Archon is really good, but he's not the best. If we are in blue, he is more likely to be cast as a creature than a bestow creature. If we get to 7 mana and we're lucky, but a lot of times we're in the position where we're either about to win the game or about to lose the game, and he unfortunately does not prevent you from losing the game. He honestly feels more like a win more card. He doesn't even feel like he rules the skies a lot of times, even if just because a Nesh and Asp will get in your way. Or something even bigger. Ordeal of Thassa is pretty good. Lash of the Whip if we do stick with black. I like Feral Invocation, but I don't think it's good enough to start going into green just yet. Really, and Nilia's Emissary, on the other hand, that is very likely to be worth going into green. I am probably going to pass. I'm going to take the Archon just because I think that it is a creature. It's an evasive creature. It does hold down the fort. And on this pack we've got. Unfortunately, our blue is all right. We've got Fortune Hunter, which is pretty good. We've got Wave Crash Triton. We have an Alseid. It's debatable if I want to take him. I think that's more of a her, actually, over the Fortune Hunter. Reverend Hunter, again, I may be passing a lot of green. This right now just shows that the guy to my right isn't in green, or the guy to my left isn't in green. Or there may have been just, yeah, a common was taken, actually, so, or possibly a foil rare / mythic, I don't know. It could be any number of things, but looking at this pack, it's between Fortune Hunter and Alseid, and unfortunately Fortune Hunter doesn't really win us the game. I would rather take the Alseid for its versatility more than anything. If Triton table, like, if either of the Tritons table, that's really good for us. But, yeah, we're going to take the Alseid just because it seems like bestow creatures are harder to get than anything else. Another Fortune Hunter, that's really good. There's solid red in this, actually. Like, this is showing that actually at least two players to my left either aren't in red, or there's, not that this guy's amazing, but Athlete's alright as a 2-drop. Skullcracker's pretty good, and so is Stonejock Giant. Borderland Minotaur is not terrible. Really, I would see people taking either the Athlete or the Stone... Well, really any of these three. But luckily, what we're going to take is right in between all of them. We're going to take the Fortune Hunter just to have some sort of heroic creature. Unfortunately, again, this is not looking the greatest for us just yet. I'm almost wondering if we should switch into red, but I don't... I almost feel it might be too late. And pack 3, where there's a very good chance the red's going to dry up really quick anyway. God's Willing or Setessan Griffin. Setessan Griffin's not the great, like, its ability's not the greatest, but ultimately still being a 3/2 flyer is pretty good. We're at 11 creatures right now. I don't know how many of them we're actually planning on running. I don't think we're going to guarantee that. Don't want to have to run that. The enchantments I don't count as creatures. So in terms of actual creatures that I want to cast as creatures, we don't have a whole lot. So I do think the Griffin is the better pick over God's Willing on this one, just so we have a threat. Nimbus Naiad this late is actually really good for us. An Ordeal and an Insatiable Heartbeat. There's a lot of good stuff in this pack, actually. And a Voyaging Satyr, which has been argued as the best green common in this set. I think it's I gotta say, with the colors we're in, if we just stick with blue-white, I don't know if we're even splashing black yet. Tormented Hero is probably not worth it, but Nimbus Naiad, on the other hand, is an amazing pick. Again, we just need to get some actual blue-white heroic creatures, which I don't think we're going to. So we're going to have to get some more Benthic Giants and just go late. Honestly, this is probably not going to work out too well for us. I'm not having a lot of confidence in these packs. Laguna Band Elder is probably where it's going to be, just, again, so we have something... Cavern Lampad at this point would be considerable just to give something semi-evasion with Intimidate. Like, let's see, Skullcracker. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate we're not in red anymore, because it does seem like this, like we would have got a lot of things we would want. But I'm not saying it's too late, but I think I'm going to play it a little more conservative. Again, then we get stuff like this. Blood to Harpy in this deck actually is something I would consider, because at this point we don't have a whole lot of threats, and we don't have a ton of removal either. So we do, on the other hand, have a lot of cool enchantments. So throwing anything on a Blood to Harpy might be where we want to be. So that I am going to take. Open Speaker, Aqueous Form. So now we have our selection of any of the Esper colors, but we have to consider what we want. Sealock Monster might actually be good, just because Aqueous Form is good because it gets through anything that we need to, whether it's enchanted or not. Like, even if we just put it on an Omen Speaker with maybe an Observant Alseid. Great, suddenly we have a 3/5 unblockable with Vigilance. That's really good. We can grab another Omen Speaker if we need to. I think Sealock Monster is it, though, because we want something that can win us the game. On that note, where are we? It's pretty much Lost in a Labyrinth. I don't really think there's any reason to pick a 2/4 for 4 that mills for 5. I could be wrong, but I think Opaline Unicorn is actually the pick here, because that's something we actually we can use. Traveler's Amulet, Agent of Horizons is pretty good. We unfortunately, again, don't have a whole lot of removal that we want to use. I am going to take the Amulet, though, just in case we do end up splashing black. Shows my Heliod this late's pretty good. Again, if we were in green, some of the stuff would... There's been a lot of packs where it's like, if we were in green, it'd be great. If we were in black, would be amazing. I haven't seen any Gray Merchants or even any Disciple of Phoenixes yet. So there's a very good chance at least one person, if not two, are in Black Devotion. We're going to take a null. Like, I don't think any of those are really great picks. And a Benthic Giant, again, at this point, it's looking like we want to get to the late game, and we want to just enchant. We want to just Voltron, Megatron. I don't know what you call it these days, but you want to just build a big creature and get through with that. So, I don't. Since we did not take the aqueous form, there's a possibility we can get another. But at this point, Benthic Giant is probably going to be carrying a lot of the weight. What is he? He is a 4/5 hexproofer for 6. Not the greatest, but again, we have some great things to put on. We can put him Nimbus Naiad. We can put Hopeful Eidolon. We can put I did grab the... Did I grab an Observant? Yeah, I grabbed an Observant Hulsate. Okay, so final pack here. We're looking at whoever's in black is gonna get some great stuff. Nesh and Asp, if we're not in green, which kind of stinks. We're not in red. Ember Swallower is good. Evangel of of Heliod. It's all right, but I don't think it really wins you games on its own. Hunt the Hunter is an amazing sideboard card. Savage Surge, God's Willing is all right. That didn't come back around to us now that I think about it. Last Breath is okay. It's actually what you would need against anything. But I think Griptide. Like, the one thing I haven't mentioned is Griptide is the one amazing card that is in our color. So we're going with that. Hopefully we get some of the Pegasus. No, not that Pegasus. The other Pegasus, the heroic for 3. And unfortunately, it's not in this pack, and there's a very good chance we're not going to see any. So, considerations. If someone's collecting all the Karametra's Acolytes, and the Disciples, that's pretty good for them. So our considerations are, we've got 16 creatures. I don't know how many of them we actually want to play. Looking like these are all somewhat playable. Yeah, I don't think any of these are really unplayable, so, and that doesn't count as a creature, but still. So at this point, we're not super necessitative on creatures, but Breaching Hippocamp, it's okay. We don't really have a lot of defensive things, or things that are powerful enough that we want them to be offensive and defensive. It's again, looking like Blood Toll Harping might be it, because suiting it up with anything is going to be our other option. Failing... Ooh. Okay. So here is pretty much our dream pack, and unfortunately it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 things we really want. Again, Blood Toll Harpy is not bad, but unfortunately we have things that are much better in our colors that we want. So it's Wingsteed Rider, Phalanx Leader, and Nimbus Naiad. And I think the Wingsteed Rider is really... We do have enough enchantments that Wingsteed Rider is where we want to be. We're not going. I can almost guarantee we're not going to see another one. I highly doubt any of these cards are going to table. If they do, we're going to be very thankful for it. But Wingsteed Rider is a card that we're not going to have We may be going a little too late into that blue-white heroic strategy, but in this, Lean and Snarecaster is probably it. Just tapping something down and getting through it for a little more damage. Let's see. Dissolve, Last Breath, Read the Bones, Unknown Shores, Lash of the Whip. We can either gamble on our third color for Read the Bones / Lash of the Whip. We could take the... I don't think I've ever really seen Unknown Shores be that great of fixing, even as slow as this format can be. There's been very few times where I've just been like, oh, thank God I had that Unknown Shores to fix my mana. Because a lot of these cards cost like just one of a single color. Like, we have one double blue card, we have 2 double white cards, no double black cards. So fixing isn't as crucial for a 3-color deck. I mean, it's a gamble, but... So I think it's actually between Lash of the Whip, Read the Bones, or Last Breath. I don't want Dissolve because it doesn't seem like we're going to be relying on instants. I'm going to take the Read the Bones just to kind of fix our deck if we need to. I don't really know what else to do. Omen Speaker's good, Blood Toll Harpy. So either take something that's on color, non-threatening, But having a 2-drop is really good. I've got 2 Blood Toll Harpies, and I don't want to rely too much on my black. I could consider taking the Evangel or the Anvil Wrought Raptor, but I don't think the Raptors were. Raptor's probably not terrible, but I've seen enough. Yeah, maybe it is the Raptor actually. It loses to a lot of other things in the air, but it's not. But we have things to grow it. But I think having a solid 2-drop is where we want to be. This coming really late is amazing. A Setessan Griffin, I wouldn't mind taking that even, or a Coastline Chimera. But the Observant Alsate is where we want to be. I'm really surprised we got that so late. So here we are with Battle Priest, not the greatest. Silent Artisan, Traveling Philosopher is not bad. It's just a bear. Which we would consider playing. It might even be God's Willing at this point, because if we can't, one of the things I found, if you can't have removal, it's almost always just as good to have anti-removal, like something like this. So, there's a very, we'll get that in there. So, like I said, we're not going to see any more. What is that thing called? The Wingsteed Rider. In this pack, it's between Last Breath. I don't think I want Scourge Mark or March of the Returned even. Evangel would be the other consideration, but I think Last Breath is where we want to be just in case we go against something super aggressive. Scholar of Athreos is just in case. If the game goes really long, he can take over the entire thing. And if we are splashing black, that's really good for us. Ray of Dissolution or Afar's Warden. Warden's not bad. There's a lot of decks that rely on like low power creatures to still finish out a game. Like, for example, the 3/2 green guy. Agent of Horizons or whatever it is. And she can shut that down as a lot of other things, but I think Ray of Dissolution is actually pretty good here because a lot of people do play enchantments. Lost in a Labyrinth just in case. Another Last Breath getting passed to us, as well as an Unknown Shores, but I think Last Breath coming this late is pretty good. And we get a foil Plains, why not? And regular Plains. So, there we are, moving on to deck building phase.